Hello, I'm Dave Allen. Those of you that have heard this program before know I'm a big fan of creepy sci-fi. Well, today's features are no exception. First, from 1947, a story of time travel as Ernest Chappell stars in this episode of Quiet Please, I Remember Tomorrow, on Radio Classics at theradiodadio.com. Be sure to listen. I'm sure you have enough time on your hands.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Today's story, written and directed by Willis Cooper and featuring Ernest Chappell, is called I Remember Tomorrow. Could you tell me the time, please? Oh, thank you. I didn't see the clock. Thank you very much. I just wanted to see how much more time I have before a certain thing happens. I wanted to see if I have time enough to tell you what's going to happen, because certain things should be done after it happens, you see. And I'm rather afraid that it'll be up to you to do them. I won't be here. Let me see how I'd better start. Perhaps it would be best if I gave you their descriptions. The three men, I mean. You'll forgive me if I sound a little confused occasionally. I've so many things to remember, and so little time to remember them all. Oh, yes, the descriptions. There are three of them. Lauterbach, he's about medium size, probably 40 years old, has red hair and a heavy red mustache. Lauterbach seems to be the boss, or perhaps I should say leader. And the second one is Greg. Greg is a large man, stocky, I should imagine you would call him. He's around 50, smooth-shaven, has sandy hair just turning gray. And Frank, I'm afraid I don't know his last name. Frank is all I've heard him called by the others, and I'm certain that's his first name. Frank wears glasses with heavy bows. He has black, thin hair, and is young compared to the others, 24 or 5, I should say. They're all very dangerous men, I'm afraid. Of course, I didn't realize at first that they were dangerous men, but the events of the past few days have demonstrated to me that they are. And as I shall show you in a few moments, I now have incontrovertible proof that they are extremely dangerous. It is quite fortunate for you that they do not know I am talking to you. However, if you will do exactly as I ask you, I feel reasonably sure that there will be no serious result for you. For myself, I already know the outcome, and it is quite impossible to change that. But your task is to bring justice, to justice the men who murdered me. Or should I say, the men who are about to murder me. Let me start from the beginning, as we'll have time. My name is Garrett Faber. I am by profession what careless newspaper writers call a scientist. By avocation, I am a gambler. A singularly inept and unfortunate gambler, not an enthusiastic one. In addition, I am afraid I drink. Perhaps my ill-fortunate cards may be in a way traceable to my propensity for martinis, or conversely, it may be that I drink excessively to forget the sums of money I lose at cards. That could be the martini now. Unfortunately, I shall have to wait until our colloquy is over. I left a large pitcher of martinis on this table yesterday when I left. I see by the empty pitcher that I drank the job then. As a matter of fact, I believe Frank did say I was finishing the pitcher when he killed me. Therefore, I have at least the consolation that the martinis will be waiting for me when I get back to yesterday, even if I am to be murdered as I finish them. It's an interesting thought. I know it sounds like what Lauterbach calls double talk, doesn't it? But you'll understand it all presently if you listen carefully. I find many interesting subjects of thought in this room. One of them is the partially dried stains on the carpet. Stains, blood stains, where I fell. May I look at the carpet again? So that's good. 1 month ago today, 1 month ago yesterday, I was sitting in a certain saloon. I was quite thirsty. It was a warm day, and I unfortunately had no money for the purchase of any kind of liquid refreshment. My wife deplores my habit of waiting around in the saloon for an acquaintance to come in and buy me a drink, of course, but she deplores so many of my habits that are you married? You are. Just to understand. Well, it seems my acquaintances had other things to do that afternoon, and I had appeared was doomed to sit and perspire and envy the more fortunate patrons of the saloon who had the wherewithal that I lacked. I had about given up in despair when a voice at my shoulder.
Aren't you Dr. Garrett Faber?
In some surprise, I answered it. I am afraid you have somewhat the advantage of me, sir.
My name is Johnny Lauterbach, Dr. Faber. This is Mr. Gregg.
How do you do, sir?
And Frank, meet Dr. Faber.
Pleased to meet you.
Dr. Faber, would you have a drink with us?
Needless to say, I accepted with pleasure. There was a time when I did not so readily drink with strangers, but, perhaps it was a kind of conditioning of my mind that led me to assume that these men were casual acquaintances whom I did not instantly remember. At any rate, the afternoon wore on, and we did become veterans.
How about another double martini, Dr. Faber?
Drink up, Doctor. More martinis on the way.
You buy one for the doc. Hey, Patty, another double martini.
And I am afraid that was the last I remembered of that afternoon. The next morning, however, I recall distinctly, I had a transcendental hangover. And I was not at home. My 3 drinking companions were still with me.
John E. Lauterbach.
Mr. Gregg and
Frank.
Mr. Lauterbach was good enough to produce a bottle of something, from which he poured me a large tumblerful. I drank it gratefully, and the dark clouds in the room dispersed a little. A second tumblerful, and Dr. Faber was almost himself again, such as that condition might be. I reached for a third glass of whatever.
That's enough for now, Dr. Faber.
one more, and you'd be on your ear again.
You feel all right now.
Gentlemen, but I am a trifle foggy. Could one of you tell me where we are?
Where we are isn't very important right now, Dr. Faber.
It's where we're going to be, Doctor.
Yes.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
I'll tell you, Dr. Faber.
Yes, you talk, Mr. Lauterbach.
Sure, we'll listen.
Well, now. Doctor, you used to be one of the most brilliant physicists in the business.
I once had a reputation. Yes.
But bottles and that racket doesn't seem to mix.
I can testify, my friend, to the truth of that statement.
You haven't had a job in quite some time, have you?
Not in quite some time. You gentlemen thinking of offering me a job?
We might.
A temporary job.
With a lot of dough attached.
Would this be an honest job?
It would require laying off hard liquor for a while.
And staying out of sight.
And the payoff that'll kill you, Doc.
May I know more about this, job?
Doctor, listen. We're not screwed.
Yes?
We know something about your work in the past.
But I understand then why you use the word screwy. You may remember that the character of my work is the cause of my dismissal from the university.
It's probably what put you on the bottle.
Quite.
We don't care about that, Doc.
Thank you, Frank. You are Mr. Lauterbach.
Well, again, you were investigating time and space relationships, if that's the scientific name for it.
That's essentially correct. The university took a rather dim view of some of the reports of my work that appeared in the public print.
I remember that. They kidded the pants off you.
They did that indeed.
But we think you're on the up and up, Dr. Faber.
Well, now, I'm most assuredly very grateful to you.
That's why we want you to do this job for us.
You ought to do it standing on your head, Doc.
I'm afraid you haven't told me yet just what the job consists of. Perhaps I can't do it. Perhaps I should telephone my wife.
We phoned her.
Oh, you did?
We told her you'd be busy on a new project for a few weeks and couldn't get home.
We also mailed her $200.
Your retaining fee, see?
You'll be very happy to receive the money. I'm afraid I haven't been able to supply her any for some time.
We figured you'd take the job, Doctor.
And $200 is not much of an investment.
Not when you figure it against what this job will make for us.
Gentlemen, I'm still in the dark.
Well,
Mr. Lauterbach will explain it to you.
Yeah.
Come on, Mr. Lauterbach.
Dr. Faber, according to your experiments and stuff, time is, what did you said, relative.
That's correct, sir.
You said it's something like air or water, didn't you?
Well, that needs a little amplification.
He said you could move around in time, like you move around in air and water and stuff.
In theory, gentlemen, I believe that possible.
Fine. Could you prove that theory, Dr. Fagan?
I was dismissed from the university before I had an opportunity to do so, Mr. Gray.
You could prove it, though, huh?
I have reason to believe that I could. Yes. May I ask the purpose of this discussion, gentlemen?
Why, sure, Doctor.
Certainly, Dr. Fagan.
Sure. We want you to make a time machine for us, Doc.
Frankly, I was flabbergasted. You gentlemen hardly seem the type who could conceive of a time machine, much less casually order one. I hesitated. I said I wasn't sure I could do it.
You can do it all right, Dr.
I said it
Faber.
would cost a great deal of money.
We'll get up the money, Doctor.
I said it would require considerable time.
We can wait, Doc. The payoff's good enough. We can wait a long time.
And so I naturally asked about this payoff.
Have a small drink, Doctor.
Obviously, I accepted the challenge. Obviously, I constructed a time machine. Otherwise, how could I be talking to you from tomorrow? How could I be speaking to you at 10:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time on Monday, July 28th? And you are as obviously listening to me at 10:13 on Sunday, July 27th. I don't know where you are. Of course, you may be listening to me in another time zone, perhaps at 6:13 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 7:13 Mountain Time. You see, don't you, that time is relative? That's the whole secret of time and time. I'm still not going to detail it, and it seems to me it is relatively simple, although it's immensely complicated, as you may imagine. The machine lies before me on the table here, a rather fragile little device looking something like a camera. But its fragility is deceptive. It cannot be destroyed. Now, observe, love, here. Here is a hammer. Nothing whatever happens. And for a very excellent reason. The machine cannot be destroyed now. Tomorrow, because it must go back with me before long to what is today, to you. If I could destroy it now, it would be impossible for us to go back, and the whole experiment would have become impossible. You follow me? Well, no matter. I've some things to show you. Let me go back to the afternoon when I first was certain that I had a rudimentary time machine that would actually work. I had consumed a great deal of liquor. Mr. Lauterbach and his friends were very generous, and I found, strangely enough, that drinking did not seem to affect my workmanship or my thinking. Well, perhaps it did. Perhaps without it I might not have been able to build a device so readily if I had not worked. It is too late now. It works, and it has already performed its function. My, shall I say, sponsors were most curious that afternoon.
How are you going to prove it works, Dr. Faber?
Send something into the future?
Send what? Not me.
I rather think we will try an inanimate object first, gentlemen.
The pencil there.
Yes, a pencil. Can't hurt a pencil, sir.
Well,
If this works.
If it works. Oh, man.
How long will it be gone?
for the purpose of the demonstration, I shall send it away for, only a few seconds.
How far away?
Shall we say, tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow.
Very well.
That's far enough.
Very well, tomorrow. 5 seconds. Are we ready?
Yeah, sure.
Watch then.
It's gone.
Now watch. 1 second. 2, 3, 4, 5.
There it is again. Let's see it.
Doesn't seem to be changed.
It isn't.
Well, why should it be?
Listen, how do we know that pencil was in tomorrow?
Well, we don't, Frank.
Well?
Well, where was it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But how are we going to know? Tell me that, Doc. How are we going to know?
We'll have to send somebody who can come back and report.
Who's that going to be, Dr. Faber?
Not me. Not me.
Doctor, will you have a drink?
I will have a drink. I will have 2 drinks. I will have a large number of drinks. I will listen to your
You
argument.
invented it, Doctor. You know more about it than
I
we
will
do.
drink again and shake my head solemnly at your importunities, gentlemen.
One of us might bust the thing, you know.
Come on, Doc. We have to know for sure.
Because I don't quite trust you, gentlemen. I don't know what you are up to, but slowly the suspicion grows in my alcoholic mind that you want this instrument for no good. And if I do use it in traveling to tomorrow, I shall do it alone when none of you are about. I can be crafty and cunning myself, gentlemen, as crafty and cunning as I suspect you are. And I shall do my first exploring alone. And deliberately I set out to drink myself into a condition where I shall be of no use whatever to my patrons, and their voices wavered off in a haze of my own making.
Take that bottle away from him, somebody. You gave it to him, Lauterbach. No use fooling with him now.
But then, after a while, it was night, and my head was reasonably clear, and I was locked in my room, and Lauterbach and Greg and Frank were, I assumed, peacefully sleeping, and that was my time. That was the time to look at tomorrow. I looked at the calendar on the table. It said Thursday, July 3rd. I looked at the clock, 11:34 p.m. I fastened the chain on the door, and I turned on the small light at the table. And then I attached the time machine to my wrist. Carefully, I set it for 1 month ahead. Carefully, I set the dial to allow me 5 minutes in the future. Then, with a last swift look around, I pressed the release. It was not an unpleasant sensation. The room was dark. The light I had just turned on was out. I reached for the switch to turn it on again, and I was startled nearly out of my senses. The lights flashed outside. They seemed to be coming from the sky above, and the air was heavy with crashing sounds. Had I made an error in calculation? Was I the only witness of atomic destruction? I rushed to the window, and the lights continued to flash. Rockets, a pyrotechnic display of glorious sound and color. I watched it in terror for a moment. Then I remembered. I had only a few minutes. Back to the table, turned on the light, and the desk calendar glared up at me. Friday, July 4th. That was it. I had made an error. I thought I'd set the machine for a month ahead, but it was only for a day. It was tomorrow. My watch ticked on. The evening paper lay on the table. The date, July 4th, 1947. And I had my proof. I snatched up the paper and stuffed it in the pocket, and the fireworks outside died away. And the watch ticked on. And suddenly, I was back. July 3rd, 1947, said the calendar pad. I had succeeded. I had seen tomorrow today. And I had my proof. I reached for tomorrow's newspaper. There was no paper. Perhaps I dropped it on the floor. No, there was no paper. There was no proof. I tried again with the machine. I found out some things. No matter how I set it, it would only go to the next day. Perhaps there's some kind of providence that prevents man from seeing too far into the future. And I found out something else. It was impossible to bring back anything from the future. I tried it with a newspaper. I tried it with a dozen other tangible things. But I was always empty-handed when I returned. Now, my friends didn't know this. They didn't know anything about all the tomorrows I had seen. I was determined to find out what use they intended to make of my machine first. And I found out. And I had held out against testing the machine in their presence. So far as they knew, I'd never tried it. And they kept after me, day after day. And at last, I set my price. And what do you want to use this machine for, gentlemen?
Shall I tell him, Greg?
Might as well, I guess.
What about you, Frank?
Yeah, you find out anyway.
No, I shall not test it, gentlemen, until I know.
What if we hooked it up and sent you out anyway?
Yeah, whether you want to or not.
How about that?
It wouldn't work, gentlemen.
What?
You don't think I'm quite a fool, do you?
What do you mean, Faber?
I haven't shown you everything about its operation yet.
Okay. Tell him, Mr. Lauderback.
You appear to have us more or less over a barrel, Doctor.
Thank you.
So, we're going to make a lot of money with it.
You said that. How?
Very simple.
Too simple, Doc.
Dr. Faber, we intend to step into the future, knock over a few banks,
And come back to today with the money.
You see, Doc?
Yes, but you
But
can't.
what?
I didn't tell them what I had discovered. I didn't tell them my machine could move no farther into the future than 24 hours. And I didn't tell them that they could bring nothing back with them. Even if I'd sympathized with their remarkable scheme, I didn't dare tell them. I was caught. They'd find out sometime, then what? It was a good scheme, wasn't it? But, of course, there are physical laws that cannot be violated. If you take something from the future and bring it back to today, then it never existed in the future. Figure it out for yourself. It doesn't take a doctorate philosophy to work it out. So that was it. Now I had to demonstrate whether I wanted to or not. I thought fast. Perhaps I could set the machine so I could stay indefinitely in the future. I studied it hard. I thought I could do it. And they watched me. That was yesterday, today. Today to them. And yesterday to me. It was nearly half an hour ago. Or if I trust the calendar, 24.5 hours ago. I set the machine for an indefinite stay in tomorrow. They watched me curiously. They said,
Bring us back tomorrow's paper, Doctor.
Don't stay too long.
Hurry back, Doc.
and Frank laughed as I pressed the release. Now it's tomorrow here. And you've got to help me. Because I can't stay here indefinitely. I'm going back. The machine works automatically. It'll take me back whether I want to go or not. You want to know how I know? Well, a little while ago I was sitting here alone. Tomorrow's paper was on the table beside me. And the door opened and they walked in. I spoke to them.
Hello.
They walked on in, paying no attention.
You better get that blood cleaned up, Frank.
Yeah, it's too easy to spot.
I'll get at it again.
I looked down. There was a blood spot on the carpet near where I was sitting. I spoke again. Where did the blood come from, Mr. Louderback?
Now we know the thing works, we've got to get some money.
Oh, it works all right, Mr.
First thing,
Louderback.
though, is to get rid of his body.
Whose body, Mr. Louderback?
Can't keep it there in the closet forever, you know.
Somebody might come in while we're out.
We'll dump it in the river tonight.
Has somebody been killed, Mr.
Well,
Louderback?
anyway, we owe him something.
He got paid off, though.
I sort of like the doc at that.
Like whom?
I hated to knock him off.
Knock whom off?
Well, we couldn't keep him around after he got the machine working and tested it out for us, could we?
Of course not. He served his purpose.
Are you
I
talking
hated to
about...
do it, though. When he picked up that pitcher of martinis and took a big slug, I thought he had a hunch that something was up.
Forget it, Frank.
And he said, I drink to success, gentlemen.
That was yesterday, Frank.
And I knew why they didn't see me or hear me. You know now, too, don't you? I wasn't there. This was tomorrow to them. It was yesterday they killed me when I came back, when I said, I drink to success, gentlemen. I wasn't there in the room when they talked about it. I was dead. So I know now, and you know, I've got to go back. I've got to go back and be killed. Nothing can stop that. I should have known. But you've got to help me. You've got to send the police here. They've got to be captured before they can use my machine. Think what they can do with it. And they're murderers. They murdered me. You will help, won't you? Oh, yes, you will. Yes, you will. I know you will, friend. You did help. Yes, you did. It says so right here in tomorrow's papers. Look. You've got to help. They can do so many terrible things with my machine. No, I know they can't bring anything back from tomorrow with them, but they can kill. You will help. Let me read you what tomorrow's paper says about what you did. Oh, I'm afraid I didn't read it all the first time. I'm sorry. No, I'm terribly sorry. But, well, listen. Died this afternoon as a result of wounds suffered in the capture of the 3 men. That's you, friend. That's you that's to be killed tomorrow trying to help me. No, you can't change it. You can't change it any more than I can. My machine is buzzing again. I'm going back. I'll pick up my drink and I'll say, I drink to success, gent.
Well, Doctor, did you make it?
I drink to success, gentlemen.
You have heard I Remember Tomorrow, a Quiet Please story written and directed by Willis Cooper. The man who spoke to you was Ernest Chappell.
And Frederick Bell played Louderback. Kermit Murdoch was heard as Greg, and Frank Dane was Frank. The music was composed and played by Gene Parazzo. Now, for a word about next week's story on Quiet Please, here is our writer-director, Willis Cooper.
Next week's Quiet Please story about a man and a murder is called Inquest.
And so, until next week at this time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell.
This program came to you from New York. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Next on Radio Classics, another episode of Quiet Please, The Man Who Stole a Planet. Is this a case of astronomical thievery? Listen and find out as once again Ernest Chappell stars on Radio Classics at theradiodadio.com. Do you know where your planet is?
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. The Mutual Broadcasting System presents Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper and which features Ernest Chappell. Quiet Please for tonight is called The Man Who Stole a Planet. I've been a very fortunate fellow, having money enough to do what I wanted to do, knowing what I wanted to do with it. I suppose I'm the best-known amateur authority on Mexico and the ruins of the Mayans and the pre-Mayans there is. Although if you're not interested in that kind of stuff, you never heard of me. So what? So if you're not, go on and read the baseball scores or tune in a quiz program or just do whatever you want to. I can't stop you. And I frankly don't care what you do if you're not interested. But if you are interested, just keep quiet and listen. And sit still. No, don't sit still. Stretch your neck a little and look down into this thing. Ever see one before? A deep freeze. People keep frozen foods and stuff in these things. That is, most people do. I keep dead men in it. See? Oh, no, I didn't kill him. Matter of fact, I'm not entirely sure he's dead. He doesn't breathe. His heart isn't beating. If he isn't dead, he ought to take down his sign. He was just like that when he was walking around, like a mummy. That outfit he's got on, that's the uniform of a very high priest of a race of people who inhabited a certain part of Mexico in the 5th century A.D. That fits him, too. It's his own uniform. Well, sure I know about these things. I've spent too many years at this business to be fooled. Fantastic, huh? Yeah, I know that's what you laymen expect to hear from archaeologists. Lots of stuff about walking mummies and weird curses and all that Boris Karloff routine. To take it from a practicing member of the profession, archaeology involves a great deal more grubbing in the ground and sifting wheelbarrows full of dirt than it does dodging zombies. However, here I am on a July evening in the year of our Lord 1948 with a house full of extremely dead high priests who were born in the Mexican jungle some 1,400 years ago. No, I didn't cart them back with me. No. They walked in on me. Take that supercilious smile off your face. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. More of that supernatural stuff. More of that H.P. Lovecraft stuff. That my blood froze in my veins as the eldritch, whatever that is, being that towered above me. Well, don't kid yourself. What you people call supernatural is just as natural as apples growing on a tree. The only thing is, our great thinkers, our figures out, they all stop when they come to something they can't explain immediately with their slide rules and their log tables and spectroscopes and stuff. And once in a while, somebody finds out something, and a little chunk of the so-called supernatural slides over into the field of exact science, and everybody says, I knew it all the time. My eyes. So if men dead 1,500 years can walk around, it's a perfectly logical explanation for it. They know the explanation, we don't. And if we ever find out, accidentally, there'd be 100,000 scientists to tell you they could have done it a long time ago, only they were working on nuclear fission and other more practical benefits to the human race. Thing is, I don't care how they do it. My interest is in why they're here. That's what affects me. Oh, I didn't tell you why they're here. That's quite simple. Well, they want something I've got, something I brought back from Mexico with me. Something I stole from them. And I may say something I want very much to keep. So, that's my problem, children. What's yours? Oh, excuse me. I've been doing all the talking. This is my wife, my beautiful wife. Her name is Elizabeth. You can call her Liz.
Look, don't let my husband fool you. He talks as if all this is very amusing and very simple. But believe me, he's just as frightened as I am.
You can say that again, Liz.
He's still here. You see, I was with him in
I
Mexico.
wouldn't be here now if she hadn't been.
Please, Norman. I'm an explorer, too. Though I'm afraid I'm not much of an archaeologist, but I'm a very good cook. And I'm the serious member of this family. So I'm going to tell you what happened without interruptions, I hope, because we think maybe you might be able to help us. I don't know how exactly.
Neither do I.
But you listen. And if you can, well, this was our 14th trip to Mexico. We flew to Mexico City, then down to Veracruz, and our people met us at Merida. And...
If you'll excuse me a minute, darling, I think one of our friends is looking in the window.
Oh, Norman.
Just sit still. I'll be right back.
I'm simply scared to death. We've been so fortunate this far. We always discover them in time. But what will happen if one gets in and we don't see him? Norman! Norman!
Okay. I had to bust the window, though. Yeah, I better put this one away. No telling what had happened to us if some curious policeman got a look at... You see? Same uniform, same badge on his left arm.
Just like the ones carved in on the thing.
The Guardian. The Watcher. Okay, Christy Weesty. Have a nice sleep.
Oh, Norman, I wish you wouldn't be so flippant about things.
Flippant? Listen, sweetheart, to your mind, I'm just about ready to go over in that corner and scream. If I see one more of these... I'm sorry.
Oh, darling, hadn't we better take it back?
No. Only, how long is this going to go on? Yeah. How long is it going to go on? You've never been inside one of those great stone pyramids the Mayans built in the Guatemala jungles so many forgotten years ago. You've never smelled a dead smell. The sour, sweet odor of the rotting vegetation that's crept in through the crevices between the stones and died 1,000 times. And the musty gray smell of those low tunnels with the maddening paintings on the walls at your elbows. The figures seem to gibber at you in the light of a Coleman lantern. And sweat. And the feeling that snakes are waiting for you in the darkness at the end. Yeah, they worship snakes through Tom, the snake god. They tore people's hearts out. They hurled their beautiful daughters to the devil god that lives in a bottomless pit. We've been in the middle of all that a lot of times. Haven't we, darling?
And the rites of spring and the harvest. The corn maidens dying horribly in the fields to preserve the fertility of the land.
And they're right to be scared. We saw the pictures of what they did to their prisoners, the ones they thought had done evil to their gods. We saw what was left of the poor victims. We've got a right to be scared. We've outwitted them so far. And how long can it go on?
Take it back, Norman.
Oh, I won't. I found it, and this world of ours today can use it. It can do more good here than it ever could in a moldy underground room beneath the Teocalli. And it's where we found it.
Tell them about it, Norman. And see if they don't agree you ought to take it back.
I don't care what they say. It's mine, and I'm going to keep it. You hear me? I'm going to keep it, I said. We've heard about the place so many times. The place where the world lives, they call it. And the place where the world lives is what it's still called. Though the world doesn't live there anymore. Not since Liz and I found the deep galleries and took away the greatest treasure that the world has ever seen. All right, now you know. When you hear a little more about it and see it, you'll forgive me for being dramatic. The greatest treasure the world has ever seen. You'll agree.
Well, tell about it.
Will you take it easy, please? We finally found a place. Let's see if I can tell you about it. A wilderness of high grass, the kind of grass we'd never seen before, higher than our heads, sharp-edged as razor blades.
Look at my arm.
Loathsome insects hanging onto the 2-inch blades of grass. Silent, and dripping, heat, crawling things. How I found the place, I'll never know. There was nothing to warn us. We just flashed our way through one more stand of high grass, and there was the door. The door was open. A kind of ramp led straight down into darkness. Darkness that seemed to begin a little too close to the bright entrance. Darkness that made us shiver there in the horrible heat that covered us like a coffin lid. Yes, of course we went in. We lighted our lanterns, went in alone. Well, that was what we came for, wasn't it? And I think we were the first human beings who had set foot on that long stone ramp in a great many centuries. Yeah, we knew it. We could feel it. The passageway wasn't so bad. Except for the pictures on the walls, I think I'd rather not tell you about them. They were put there, of course, to give any intruder an idea of what would happen to him if he got caught in there. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. I want to remember this very clearly, Liz. You stumbled against something.
It was the lever that opened the inner door. And the door opened, and I said, "We found it, Norman."
And the door closed behind us.
And our lanterns went out.
I put out my hand for Liz, and she was still there. We stood there a minute. I got over my first fear. Liz was kind of moaning in the dark. It's okay, honey. Stand still so we don't get separated from each other. Just stand still. I like the lamp again.
No, wait. There's a light.
And there was a little light, a little faint light, down there under the earth. And at first I couldn't see where it came from. But our eyes got more and more used to the dim radiance. We finally saw where it was coming from.
But there's a globe there, Norman.
So too. Come on, let's look over.
What is it, Norman?
Nothing. Looks like a baseball. Doesn't it, Con?
What's holding it up?
Well, I don't. I can't. It just seems to be suspended in the air. I'll be darned.
That's the lantern.
Yeah. Wait. Don't touch it, lady. What?
It's inside something, a globe of some kind. Crystal, I guess. Here.
Well, what do you know about that? Here, hold up the lantern a little. I want to look at it close. Here. Liz, look here. Look at this.
What?
Look. Do you see what it is?
Just a little ball of silver. Oh, Norman.
You see?
That isn't possible.
Liz, this is the greatest archaeological treasure anyone has ever seen.
It can't be.
It is. See, there's the North American continent. And look around here. Europe, Asia, Africa.
It's the world.
Do you realize what it means? It means that these people knew the world is round hundreds of years before Columbus proved it. It proved that the people who lived here knew all about the world. Look, even Australia.
Yes, it is.
Perfect. Why, this will upset every scientific... My Lord, woman, do you realize what a discovery this is?
I'm afraid of it.
Oh, I found what holds it up.
What?
It's not suspended in midair at all. See these two little wires? One from each pole? There you see.
I see. Oh, Norman, it's so beautiful and so terrifying.
Terrifying, my eye. Now, this is one treasure the Mexican government isn't going to get.
Are you going to take it?
Are you kidding?
What was that?
Oh, the door blew open. I was wondering how we were going to get out again. Now everything's going to be all right. And I nearly dropped the lantern. Because when I turned around to look at the door, the rays from my lantern lit up the walls of the circular rock-hewn room we stood in. And ranged around the walls 2 feet apart were the high priests and all their regalia, just like these you looked at. All of them staring at us, each one of them with a bow in his outstretched left hand, and an obsidian-tipped arrow drawn to the head, aimed straight at Liz and me. It was only a second before I realized they were all dead. That they'd been placed there long centuries ago. That they were harmless. And I laughed. I picked up the crystal globe that the little world lived in, and Penguins and I made our way outside to the world of grass and sunlight. And I, like some 20th century Atlas, carried the world on my shoulder. I turned and looked back for a moment at the door. And there, framed in the blackness beyond, stood an ancient man in the regalia of a high priest, such as we left behind us when we stole the world. And the arrow on his bow was pointed at my heart. So I shot him. And he fell kicking. I slapped Liz when she started to cry. And we came away. Take a look again at this first fellow I showed you. See the bullet in his head? Yeah, he's the same one I shot. Never forget his face. Well, there isn't much more to tell. Is there, Liz?
I think there is.
Oh, that's right. Come in here. I want you to see this world. This little silver globe that was fashioned nearly 1,000 years before Columbus was born in a Mexican jungle that hasn't even got a name. Come here. Here it is. Quite a thing, isn't it? What? Oh, yes, I managed finally to break the crystal globe it was in. The day of that big earthquake in Japan it was. Yes, I don't know why it still stays suspended in the air like that. There's reason for it, of course. No, not supernatural. Perfectly natural. This we could only find out why. But there's something else I wanted you to see. Look at it closely. Isn't it beautiful? The continents in relief. See the mountains, the Rockies, the Himalayas over here? And the ocean really looks wet, doesn't it? Wonderful workmanship.
Oh, Norman, please.
Liz. Here. Look at it with a magnifying glass. See anything? No, I guess you can't. You'd have to watch it for a long time to see. I'll say surprised when I discovered it. Well, it's turning. Turning on its axis once every 24 hours. It's been revolving like that once every 24 hours for a million years, friend. Now, you see, I have got the greatest treasure the world has ever seen, haven't I? I really did steal the world. And I'll tell you something, the world is mine. Sure. Let anybody do anything I don't like, I'll take care of them. It's my world, see? You don't believe it? Well, look here. This is a very fine platinum blowpipe. And this is water. See here? That's the Sahara Desert. What?
No, Norman, please don't.
Wait. What's that? You see? Nothing happened. Is that so? Liz, turn on the radio. There's a news program on now. Go ahead. Just keep quiet for a second.
Norman, I don't want...
Turn it on. And be still. All of you.
Hold for immediate peace in the Holy Land. Just a moment, please. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it is reported that the Sahara Desert, the driest place in the world, has been suddenly inundated by widespread cloudbursts of unimagined intensity. The rolling sand dunes of the world's greatest desert are now submerged below a
Turn it
sea of water.
down.
Hundreds of persons.
There, you see? Sorry if I killed some people, but... well, I may have to kill lots of people someday, so, it's practice. Don't believe it? Oh, here, take this needle. No? Well, watch me. What shall we destroy? No, not a town. We'll wait for that. Besides, I can't pinpoint a town on a globe this size, exactly. Let's see, where's this?
Norman, please don't.
Liz, will you sit down, please, and shut up? Now, I guess this is fairly uninhabited. Northern Minnesota, it's all deep forest there. And they've never had an earthquake. So,
Norman.
just jab it a few times with a needle. Feel that? That, friend, is an earthquake a few thousand miles away, a very severe one. Liz, turn up the radio.
I don't want to.
In such a time of world unrest, Mother Nature herself takes a hand and shows her own power. Yes? Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, here is another catastrophe. The great Mesabi Range in northern Minnesota has been completely obliterated according to first reports of a devastating earthquake that has laid waste thousands of square
Shut it
miles
off.
of the United States.
Well, what do you think?
Norman.
I don't know exactly what to do. If I can just keep these high priests
Norman,
on the
please.
globe long enough, maybe I ought to just sit tight until they've all visited me and I've put them all away and they stop. And then I'll be all right. I'd like your opinion.
Norman.
What do you want?
Norman, the globe.
Stop bothering.
Taking it.
Oh, well, hello, brother priest. Put that down. Put it down, I say. Put it down or I'll...
No, Norman, don't shoot. You might...
Stop, I tell you.
No, Norman.
Cut. Oh, good. Quiet Please for tonight was called The Man Who Stole a Planet. It was written and directed by Willis Cooper, and the man who spoke to you was Ernest Chappell, and Hildy Palmer played Liz. The voice on the radio was that of Phil Tompkins. Music for Quiet Please, as usual, is played by Albert Berman. Now, for the word about next week, our writer-director, Willis Cooper.
No, nobody has stolen the world, really. Everybody in the studio is, at least at this moment, still alive, and while they were on the air, they represented nobody living or dead, or you wouldn't have lived to hear the story, you see. So for next week, I've written a story called It's Later Than You Think, and I hope you'll listen.
And so, until next week at the same time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell. Everyone is aware that the high cost of living keeps going higher. But did you know that the cost of dying is also going up? Last year, the price was $2,200,000. That's right. $2,200,000 was the price we paid for 1947 traffic accidents which injured 1,100,000 Americans and killed 32,000. We complain about the cost of helping the war-torn countries of the world, and yet we recklessly squander lives and dollars and file the expense away under the caption, "Isn't it a shame it had to happen to them?" We forget that a moment's carelessness on our part might result in it happening to us. Whether you're driving or walking, obey all traffic rules. Look right, look left, look ahead, so you won't be looking up from 6 feet under. Be careful. The life you save may be your own. This program is heard in Canada through the facilities of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
That's Radio Classics for this time around. Be sure to join me again soon when I'll bring you another episode from those golden days of my favorite medium. And remember, what's old is new again at theradiodaddio.com. I'm Dave Allen.